A little bit to get started. I don't know when it actually starts because I get the spinning wheel. Does it say started? It started.
I'm supposed to.
Hello, everybody.
Right?
What's that?
I'm supposed to just leave it.
Yeah, just leave it.
Okay.
Yeah, see, this needs to be up all the time if we're live streaming. Or if I change apps, then it messes it up. It's very finicky about the live streaming part. So I just leave it in my pocket. So what day is it today?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. It's your first day back at work. And you're just getting done with lunch?
Yep.
And so now we're walking back to your work?
Yep.
And our house is like, I don't know, half a block back that way. And you got a nice little
Now it gives me the number for the delivery box.
Okay. You can forward it to me, right?
Yeah.
你好. So we got a delivery and the guy sent you a message, and I thought that it meant that it was in like the delivery boxes where you walk up and you punch a number in and then the box like pops open. But it was actually the guy shows up, messages everybody, and you're supposed to go down there right away to pick it up. Or if you don't pick it up, then he puts it in the box, then you get text messaged like a code to punch in, and then the door pops open, and then you get the thing.
Right.
So now we got the code. So on the way back, I'll show everybody how to get the delivery from the delivery box. If they're still here. If it's still working.
It has to be there.
Was it yesterday? I don't think it was yesterday that we went to the Global Center, but...
No.
Okay, again, I gotta tell everybody, this is a 360 video, so if it looks like you're staring at nothing, right? If you're using the YouTube app, it works best with the YouTube app. But swipe back and forth or up and down on the screen, or use your mouse and click and drag, and you should be able to spin around to look at everything that's around us. So if you want to look at us, or you want to look like where we're going, it should be okay. So it's a 360 video, so everybody's got to know that. I think I'm the only one that's live streaming 360 video in China. So...
Oh, I want to buy one of those robots.
What is that?
Those robots has a like really good programming, and it cleans itself.
What kind of robot is it? Is it like our sweepy robot?
It sweeps and it wipes.
So it's like a mopping vacuum robot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't have to clean it. So you don't have to, like with our Roomba, we have to like dump out the garbage.
Right.
It will clean itself.
Well, eventually we gotta like dump some kind of garbage out.
No, not at all.
Well, I mean, we gotta take the garbage out of the house.
Well, true, but we don't have to like clean the Roomba.
Oh, okay. I'm sure like once a year I'll have to clean it.
We just have to clean the garbage box.
Okay.
With the setup for the robot.
That sounds expensive.
It's about 1,000 yuan. It's actually cheaper than our Roomba.
What? How can that be cheaper than our Roomba?
1,000 yuan is cheaper than our Roomba in the States.
Oh, yeah.
We paid
Roomba.
Yeah.
So this is the only street that you have to cross when you go to work, right?
Yep.
Oh. Such a difficult walk to work every day. Are you going to be late? Do you have to walk faster?
Probably going to be late. But well.
Oh.
And what are they going to tell me?
No bonus.
Probably not. It's so close to Spring Festival. Why would they say that? Like, to make me not be happy for Spring Festival? That's just dumb.
What? Let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Oh, because you might quit.
Yeah. A lot of people quit their job over Spring Festival.
So your boss will give you the bonus to try to keep you happy so you won't quit your job during Spring Festival.
Yeah.
Is that okay? That's a thing.
A lot of people quit their job during Spring Festival.
Man, the like the workflow in China is so weird. We'll call it culture, but like the work culture is so different. We were talking just the other day. So the cost of living in China is kind of like an apples to oranges comparison to America, because we were talking about America where you got to buy your own work clothes, you got to rent your own apartment, you got to pay for your own transportation to work, you have to buy your own food at work. And in China, they try to recruit employees with like perks, like bonuses. So I went to a friend's clothing factory. You know, like I've had some factory jobs. They're work. You got to sit in one spot and do repetitive tasks like over and over again. But we kind of went around a corner and there was some laundry hanging there. And I was like, do people live here? And he's like, oh yeah, we provide the housing for them, so they don't have to pay rent. So I mean, in America, you have the freedom to go pick the place that you work, that you live at, but to be honest, you don't really have that much of a choice. The neighborhood that you live in is kind of determined by how much money you make, which might not even be remotely close to where you work. So that's added transportation costs. So by providing the housing for them, then they don't have to pay for additional transportation, and they don't have to pay for rent.
My work also give me like 300 yuan every month to pay for my potential transportation cost and phone call.
Yeah, that was the thing, is I got a subsidy for my last job too. That was for transportation. So if I worked late and I wanted to take a taxi home, I would just give them like the receipt, you know. New restaurant. They're all checking me out. Like, ooh, white guy. So yeah, like I said, the living expenses. You know, you hear that they only make $2.50 an hour.
That's not true.
Well, I mean, to an American, you're like, how do you live off of that? You got to pay rent, you got to pay for your car, you got to pay for your food, but all of those things are like paid for. So you can literally work a job for a year and know exactly how much money you can save up.
They don't have to pay for housing. Public transportation is super cheap.
Right.
So they want to go somewhere during their day off.
So your job like subsidizes all of the extra expenses.
And they don't have to pay for their food, because they just eat at the cafeteria for free.
Right.
It's included in their, work.
Right. So like, the wage in America is much higher, but the expenses that you incur as a person are also much higher. In China, they kind of recruit you so that you can work for a long time and actually save up money.
And they pretty much pay nothing for their health insurance as well.
Yeah, public health insurance means that it's all taken care of. If you get sick, there's public health care, which that's a whole different conversation comparing America to China.
Yeah,
but
if you're interested in that.
Ooh, let's stop right here for a minute. These are all like snacky chips and stuff.
This is really good, but
yeah. Junk food. Okay. We got to get you to work.
I mean, those are not too bad for you, because they're all made with grain, and I mean, some of them are really sugary.
So what you're saying is carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of carbs, but
here's the duck bridge. Bridge.
Yeah, there's the black swan over here.
Black swan.
Yeah.
There are always people taking pictures and feeding the birds over here. So you'll see a lot of like architecture that's borrowed from other cultures in China, and this is a very like European style part of the park,
Yeah.
which seems okay.
Kind of a mix.
This place is always popular at night. They have like a little grill, and you can get grilled stuff on sticks.
Yeah.
It's like shish kebab, but Chinese style.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it.
Sure.
Again, we live in Sichuan, so Sichuan people take their food super serious.
Yeah. Because there's like.
They even put a TV out here, so like when the World Cup was playing, you could watch the World Cup out here. Chinese society is kind of a get it done type deal. Like in America, you're like, you can't do that. In China, they're like, we just did it. Like we put a TV out here, no big deal. Some of them put like a projector. So what? There's a guy that sells fried rice. No, it's like soupy stuff.
Malatang.
Malatang. It's like how do you describe that?
It's like
make your own soup. It's like a soup buffet.
No, it's like they cook your hot pot for you and put it in a box.
Okay.
You take it home.
But they have this cart that they roll out every night. Right? They drive this little cart out. It's got its own engine and stuff. And then they've got like an arm that swings out with its own TV. So,
just kidding.
I mean, it's everyday stuff for us, but when I think of how it is back home.
Oh, we don't see that kind of stuff. I mean, the food trucks, I remember, are like, they sell, ice cream and hot dogs, maybe tacos.
Okay, during the farmer's market, they got little,
No, I meant like, even when I went to New York and stuff, they normally only sell like burger, hot dogs,
right, so
and tacos maybe.
In America, there's a lot of food regulations. So you need to prove that your stuff is super clean. You need to pass inspection. You need a permit. Things need to be a certain temperature. There is none of that regulation in China.
There is.
No. They just kick them around.
There is regulations.
I've never, ever seen a permit or an inspection for any one of the food trucks that we eat off of.
If we call the food
Who does that?
department.
Nobody does that.
Exactly.
Because you know what you're getting.
As long as you eat the
America from restaurants and such, right? Like it happens a little bit more in China, but it's kind of self-regulating because if you eat at a new place and you have a bad reaction like food poisoning, then you just don't go back to that place. And so if enough people get sick, the place just goes out of business.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of self-regulating.
But no, for the regular restaurants and stuff, like they do get regulated all the time. It's just when we eat at street food vendors that they kind of run as they go if the city police come chasing them.
It's hilarious when the city police come because the street vendors always have like an eye over their shoulder.
Yeah.
For the city police. And it's not like, man, the city police.
It's not the police like.
Yeah.
They will like beat you down and stuff. They're really nice.
It's kind of like
they give you.
It's hard to explain.
They give you like a couple warnings.
It's more like cartoon comical where they're like, hey, move along. You know you're not supposed to be here, so kind of this game where they're like, oh shit, they're coming. I mean, oh no, they're coming. And so they hop on their cart and then like drive off. And they'll like go around the block and then park right back in the same spot. And the police will know this, so they'll like go around a couple of times, you know? Ooh, pretty.
在干嘛？来，给你们。这个是我们学校的树。学校？对。这是学校吗？对。姐姐，不能摘了，这是他们学校的树。
Oh man, I love it when kids scream for no reason. That's my favorite. Ooh, what's this? Is that the new gas meter?
Yeah.
You're digging the place up before.
It is.
Should we go show everybody your fish and then I leave?
No, fish is sick.
I want to see it. Nanhu.
谢谢。
谢谢你. Just about every place has a little guard guy.
This is the tiny school I work at.
Yeah. It's like concierge. Not so much like a guard. Wow. It says 45 minutes. I don't know why it's 45 minutes.
I wonder if it just continues with the last one.
I don't know.
They'll be super confused.
It's
like
kind of weird.
1 minute they're at the bowling center, another minute they're at my school. Hello.
Oh no, everybody's sleeping. I don't think that we can show them the fish. So this is her office. And this is the fish. Yeah, he looks fine.
No, do you see how like its fin has blood on it?
Nope, he's fine. All right, I'm gonna go. Bye.
Okay, bye. I'll forward you the thing.
Yeah, forward me the number.
Bye.
Okay. This is the security deal. So, this is the school that Xinyi works at. She helps students transition from Chinese school culture to American school culture. And there's some living dorms up there. The dorms are kind of cool. There's a library in the wing. Lots of meeting rooms. 回家啦。啊？这是睡觉。你可以说大。
能不能进去？啊？
好，好，拜拜。Ah, man, listening to Chinese is really difficult, especially if they have like a really thick native accent. So I try my best to like engage with people, but oh shit. But it's a little difficult for me. So this is Nanhu Park, or South Park, Nanhu Gongyuan, and it is the liveliest thing. It is pretty cool around here. I think I've done quite a few videos of the park and the different parts of it. I mean, the park is like huge. When we were looking for apartments, we kind of had a checklist and a wish list of all the things that we wanted, and close to a park was one of them. Here, I'll show you the map. But this place checked a lot of the boxes that we wanted. There's like an outside balcony on our apartment. It's next to this huge park. So we live right here. And it shows where the bathrooms are. There's a South Lake park. And then these are all the buildings on the edge. Restaurants. Mostly restaurants. They're all restaurants. And then, you know, Xinyi's work is right there. This one's Xinyi's work, A. I think. Anyway. We really like this neighborhood. This neighborhood is, I think, one of the top rated ones in Chengdu. It's really close to line 5. We've got a short walk. to the subway, and the subway here is amazing. It goes all the way through town. It's super convenient. I mean, it takes a long time to get places, you know, a bit a ways from the house. But I mean, Chengdu is so big, you have to travel quite a distance to get to different places that you want. So it's not that the subway takes a long time, it's that you have to travel quite a ways because the city is so big. So like we wanted to visit our parents' apartment, our house, whatever you want to call it, condo, in the north. It takes us an hour and a half on the subway. The subway gets us most of the way there, and then we either have to take a bike or a taxi cab, because they live really on the outskirts, kind of on the outskirts to the north in the city. But if we were to take a taxi cab, it still takes like, I don't know, it's like a 45-minute to an hour drive. So the extra time it takes is just like changing from the subway to the cab or walking to the subway. So it really, the subway takes just as much time. This is another thing. People wear pajamas outside in the wintertime. They're super comfy. Totally acceptable. Totally acceptable to wear fleece pajamas out in public. Pretty amazing. This building has been empty since we started living here. I think it's a beautiful building. I think I went in the basement. The basement was flooded. It's kind of gross, but a lot of these buildings right now are empty, and people would be like, "Oh, that's a failed development." But I'll be honest, this is still filling in. There's still new development here every day. You'll see cranes. They'll be building new stuff. Here, we'll peek our head in here. It's just empty right now, but it's open to the public. This is pretty amazing. Just a big open, empty space right now. And probably make this into a restaurant or a place to have tea. It's pretty big. Yeah, this is the urban exploring that you really have fun doing, where you wander into a strange place. It's a broken down couch, there's a bunch of dishes here. Pretty interesting. But places like this have a lot of potential. So this is the parking lot. Pretty interesting that the parking lot isn't bigger, but like I said, this is where all of the restaurants are, so it would make sense that there's a parking lot here. It's never like an asphalt parking lot. It's always brick or tile, which is really interesting. And it requires a bit of maintenance. Like you can see over there, they've had to repair a bunch of it, but cars just kind of fly by here, so I'm sure that it's pretty hard on the bricks. And they're not really like thick bricks either. They're kind of thin, so I don't think that they hold up very well. The restaurants here are really awesome. They're decorated well. They're not all that expensive. Not compared to eating out in the States. If we were to eat out here, it would be about, I don't know, $15, $20 a person. In China, usually you bring your own alcohol. You can definitely buy alcohol here at the restaurants, but most times you bring your own alcohol. It's kind of a thing in China. When you go out to eat in China and you drink with your friends, usually everybody drinks the same thing. That's why you buy one bottle. Everybody kind of drinks the same thing. If you're drinking beer, usually you buy it by the case at the restaurant. Like they just bring a case and then you just start drinking the beer out of the case. But it's not a 1-for-1 beer per person. Everybody gets a glass and then you kind of fill up the glass, like they're short. And then everybody cheers together. So you never drink alone in China. You're always drinking with someone else, which is dangerous because, especially because of a foreigner, everybody wants to drink with the foreigner. So everybody, 你好. Everybody wants more drinks with the foreigner, and they'll be like, oh, we're really good friends, we'll drink four drinks together. 你好，你好，你的孩子很可爱。Hello. I said his kid is cute. That's the thing. Also, when you're a foreigner, I always try to say hi to the kids because it kind of shows that we're friendly and it makes the parents happy. You know, I try to keep good PR because I'm the only foreigner around here, so I kind of represent the international side of my neighborhood. So I try to create a good impression. So again, there's restaurants to my left, there's restaurants to my right. And I've eaten at quite a few of these. You know, they're pretty much the same, where it's hot pot or barbecue, call it xiaokao, or the dishes. It's also, again, in China, you don't order one plate for yourself. It's like you order for the table, and then everybody eats off of the same dishes, so you get a taste of everything. It's not just like one person, one burger. It's like you order a plate of vegetables, you order a plate of meat, you order a plate of biscuits, bread, whatever, and then everybody just takes a little bit out of each one. Oh, let's see about this stuff. This is interesting because you buy this by weight. So you get a basket and then you fill it up, and then they weigh how much you're purchasing, and then you pay per half kilo. Yijing is 500 grams? 500 grams, so half a kilo. And they're not very expensive, but those are house snacks. We usually get the house snacks. Oh, man, it's such a nice day out, except for the air quality. The air quality here is pretty bad. When the air quality gets bad enough, then they start restricting the amount of cars they can drive by the license plate number. So the last number on your license plate determines whether you can drive on that day or not. This is pretty interesting. So this is another empty building. It used to be something. I don't know what it is. But I don't know, it's just a lot of really beautiful buildings. Kind of looks like the kitchen over there. I don't know. It's pretty much of a mess right now, but wow. Have a couch. I don't know what that is. Kind of a mess right now. But yeah, they don't lock the doors. You just walk in. There isn't really much you can do. Even if you wanted to steal stuff, it would look kind of strange if you're walking down the street with like half a couch. So yeah, crime really isn't a thing here. I haven't seen any kind of crime, which doesn't mean that there isn't any, but you know, it does speak to to something if you don't see any of the crime, you know? Like, if you saw it, then it would be a different thing. But anyway, on a different topic, we're coming up to like one of the big squares, and in the morning you'll see a lot of people doing Tai Chi, a lot of different groups doing Tai Chi, and at night you'll see a lot of people that are dancing. Dancing at night is a huge thing. Synchronized dancing. Can't explain why, but all over China they really love dancing outside. Kind of like Zumba. And there's all different kinds of music styles and dancing styles. But that's a super popular thing. Yeah. So this is my neighborhood. I've showed everybody this quite often. This is one of my favorite views too, because you really get the scale of how big each one of these buildings are. There's like 30 buildings, all in my neighborhood. I call it my neighborhood, but it's like a 1 square mile, a little over a square mile city block. There are no streets that go through the middle of my neighborhood, but you can like drive a car around if you need to like do some moving or something, you know? Like if you need to haul some furniture, you can drive right up to the building. There's a lot of those mini vehicles, like what you just saw drive by right here, or I don't know, the size and scale of vehicles here in China just run the gambit. There's like everything you can possibly think of to get from point A to point B. It's a thing. Scooters, little razor scooters with the electric razor scooters, like the bird scooters in America. Bikes, mopeds. I guess. I go in. Hello. I hear kids all the time, which means foreigner. I think it's awesome to like point the foreigner out, like nobody can see it. But anyway, yeah, there's just every size vehicle you can possibly think of. It's out here. Which is pretty cool. What else? Coming back up on my neighborhood. Hope everybody's having fun. I don't know if anybody really watches this much of the video, but you know, just trying to give a little Chinese experience. My life here is pretty interesting. Been here for almost 3 years now. So now I'm quite used to it. You know, I've kind of forgotten what it's like back home for the most part. And all the new stuff, you know, when you first do that jump from one culture to another, everything looks crazy. And I've forgotten what looks crazy now, because everything looks a bit more like when I first got here, walking around, you really gotta watch where you step, because the city isn't like lawsuit proof like it is in America. So you're walking through America and you're like, that's a lawsuit, that's a lawsuit, there's an open pit. But in China, you're just like, you shouldn't walk there. You shouldn't walk there, you could get hurt. Be careful where you step. So when you're in China, you kind of learn the terrain in the city and understand that it might be dangerous, so you kind of watch out a little bit more. Oh, here's my favorite guy. 我姓朋友。你好。
你还玩直播啊？
直播？哈？
你看你胡子剃了要精神多了。 学长了，这个地方
哦，这是
长了不得行，
我没有
这个地方
是
我们这里叫
11
老
月，
头子才学负责。
11月我用12没有。
这个刮光身一点，人要显谨慎一点，
年轻一些，年轻，
对不对？我们这里
漂亮 beautiful，
特别是
不好意思，我听不懂。
新年，你知道中国的新年吗？
新年
新年
新年好。
好，
马上就要到了，
新年
人就要精神饱满。
有不知道新年快乐。
新年快乐，
中国的
那英文怎么说的？Happy New Year 吧，是不是
Happy New Year。
Happy New Year，
他可以说英文。
说一点点。
哦，
一点点
有 OK
Happy New Year 就是新年。
回家了，好，谢谢你们。
欢迎回家。
That's my favorite guy. He tries to talk to me all the time. And I can understand like a quarter of what he's saying because he speaks so fast. We were talking, so every November, I do No Shave November. And so I had a beard. And he was talking about New Year, no more beard. And I don't really get much of what he's saying past that, but he's always really happy to see me. He's trying really hard to communicate with me, and I appreciate that a lot. Like he's one of my favorite security guards, and I see him at this gate and I see him at the other gate. I really hate to call them security guards. I like to call them concierge. Like they're really nice. They're there, you know, if the facial recognition doesn't recognize my face to get in the gate. We got facial recognition stuff now. When I had the beard and the mustache, the facial recognition didn't recognize me anymore. So they would just have to like open the gate for me. Which, you know, is pretty nice. But they're just there to help you out. When we had the pandemic restrictions, which we don't have anymore, they would be kind of in charge of monitoring who comes in and out of the subdivision. So if you had been traveling from outside of Chengdu, they would kind of record it. And that's how China was so good at contact tracing. So they would kind of know if you've been in a high-risk area. So they would kind of know who to quarantine if you've been to a high-risk area. We went through that a little bit, but obviously right now there's none of that. So inside my neighborhood, there's all these really awesome parks. I call them parks, but they're just the space between the buildings, and they are really well manicured. This is a little dirty now because it's fall and all the leaves are falling off, but they'll drain this whole area and pressure spray all of the like gross stuff out. Like they'll clean these ponds, but once